and someone give you a fiver, that would set you up for so much.
Who's this someone? It depends who's giving me the fiver.
I'm not talking about you getting groomed. I mean,
Well, you said someone's giving you a fiver. I used to walk home from school and go to the chip shop on a Friday. If a random stranger went, "Here's a fiver," I'd be like, "Perfect, I can get the chips and gravy." Learning, and after 13 years in government, you think that the Conservative Party would have learnt how to run the country. Callum, have they learnt yet?
Hi, Callum Scott here, Bedlam reporter, who was Forest Stage live from the Conservative Party conference here in Manchester, where I currently am right now.
Brilliant.
No.
Fantastic. Proud.
No, they haven't.
They haven't learnt.
We're having a moment, it would appear. Already Tom's internet is having a moment, so I am going to play what was the introduction, but Tom has decided to die, so that's gone well, isn't it? It's started really well.
We look back at the last 14 years of Conservative rule. As we look back at this gaggle of obdurate, arrogant, stubborn, unrepentant, heartless, self-serving bunch of arseholes who have spent the last 14 years trying to keep their useless, megalomaniacal political party together while sleepwalking the country into a kitchen blender. 14 years, 5 prime ministers, 7 chancellors, 8 foreign secretaries, 13 culture secretaries, one of whom was Nadine Dorries, a woman so stupid she thinks Channel 4 is a brand of perfume. 8 Home Secretaries, including grinning exorcist doll Priti Patel, Sajid Javid, James Hilarious Rape Jokes Cleverly, and far-right pin-up Suella Braverman. Twice! A woman who says multiculturalism has failed, even though her, Patel, Javid Cleverly, Sunak, Kwarteng, Zahawi, Badenoch are proof that even if you do have brown skin, you too can become a vicious, festering, regressive, lying, greedy, nasty, eye-wateringly wealthy, but morally bankrupt cunt. No fewer than 16 housing ministers, which explains why the UK is the most difficult place to find a home in the developed world. In 2000, a home cost 4 times the average salary. Now it costs 8 times the average salary, and workers are 11 grand worse off a year after 15 years of almost completely unprecedented wage stagnation. We've gone from 29 billionaires to 177 billionaires, whilst the working classes...
Hello?
Hello.
No, is it working? No, can you see me?
I don't. Yeah, no, I can't. This is awful. Really rubbish.
And this is why we do this. This is live. Hang on.
I can hear you. This is like the podcast that we normally do. I can hear you, but I can't see. I can just see you looking like really pensive and like you're thinking about it, but you're talking without moving your lips.
I'm going to restart my browser again.
Fab, right. So it's just going to be me here. We're going to talk through everything that's going to be coming on what we're going to be talking about as we go through. There's 10 minutes until the exit poll, which is when we find out roughly who's going to end up where, who's going to be winning what and when. And now I can see you. And now we're back on. Is it working? Say something so I know that it's working, please God.
Hello?
Yay, Ish.
Right, guys, sorry about this. We are live. As one of the banners says, we're really live, maybe not from Downing Street. I am going to load up a second browser to see if that will work better. But it appears...
I would be tempted not to touch anything.
Yeah, but I mean, if I click like a button, I mean, we've still got time to do it. We've still got time to mess about and shit like that. So, like, does this it's
happening again. It's happening again.
Is this gonna work? My God, no, it's still there. Right? Is this gonna work? See you in about 8 minutes. Oh wait, that worked.
No.
That worked.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know what
Hang
you're
on.
doing. Oh, this is. What are you doing?
It worked. No, right. So, because I don't know why it does it, but every single time I press record, and in this instance, go live, it literally was like scheduled and it went to 0. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I need to click like go live or something? And then it started counting down, and I'm like, it still says go live. So I clicked go live, and all of a sudden it was like, nah, you're not doing that today.
No.
And every time I logged back in, I gave Callum one instruction, and I says, literally just click welcome to the Bedlam podcast, and it'll play. It's a minute long. Get back in, easy peasy, nice. And I'm like, no, it's not working. And I came back in, and I was like, I can see Callum in the back channel. I can see me in the back channel.
What
and
you
every
saw was
time
Callum
I add,
trying to just keep everything together. Yeah.
and I kept trying to add myself to the stage, and I was like, it's not working. Callum, we've got a comment.
Have we?
Yeah. Look, it's there we are. Stephen, that happened on the Wednesday at West Yorkshire Football Show the other night. Yeah, mate, I don't understand what happens, and I've heard good things about you. And if you've got any tips, please send them my way, because currently, right, I don't want to admit this, but the other browser that I have opened up is Microsoft Edge.
Wow.
And I don't want to admit that, but yeah,
Here
I don't want to do that.
Chrome.
But I am clicking buttons, and it does seem to be working and stuff like that. So, I need to look. In fact, no, we're not going to load anything up on the computer. I sent it to myself on WhatsApp, so we're going to load up the WhatsApp group chat, and stuff.
Right,
we do have a message from in our actual group chat from Adam that says, have the Tories started running Tom's internet now they don't have a country to run?
Oh, that's cold. That is cold. Right.
But yeah,
so
well,
we've got around 8 minutes, maybe 7.5 minutes until we get the exit poll. Right. Are we excited?
Yeah.
Are you aware of what an exit poll is?
Me? No, not a clue.
Right. So in 7 minutes, there's going to be an exit poll, right?
But can I also just tell you about 8 minutes I've got to start my talk? In a minute, sorry.
Yeah. Right. What in a minute from now?
Stephen says, thanks for the nice comment. As Cal will tell you, I'm not technical, just technically blind.
Oh, Stephen.
But as you can tell, right, so we are here. So we, over the last 6 weeks, we have sort of done a podcast here and there. We've gone over every single political gremlin and stuff like that, of what we can get his hands on. We've tried our best to put our own sort of spin on things. Yeah, I'm saying a lot of erms. Can you tell I'm nervous?
Yes, I can.
But yeah, so as I say, in about 6 minutes or so, the polls are going to close. And today's been your day to vote, basically. Your day to have an actual say on something of what we've been all waiting for quite a while. So, I mean, I think it's time to sort of go and get this show on the road. So, over the last 6 weeks, the political parties that wish to form a government have been out on their campaign trails, trying to rally the voters in their numbers. The majority of people's opinions have been decided for all of those last 6 weeks, but some people are still struggling in these last few minutes to decide who they want to choose. As the polls close over the next few minutes, let's have one final word from our favourite political correspondent, Jonathan Pye.
As we look back at the last 14 years of Conservative rule, As we look back at this gaggle of obdurate, arrogant, stubborn, unrepentant, heartless, self-serving bunch of arseholes who have spent the last 14 years trying to keep their useless, megalomaniacal political party together while sleepwalking the country into a kitchen blender. 14 years, 5 prime ministers, 7 chancellors, 8 foreign secretaries, 13 culture secretaries, one of whom was Nadine Dorries, a woman so stupid she thinks Channel 4 is a brand of perfume. 8 Home Secretaries, including grinning exorcist doll Priti Patel, Sajid Javid, James Hilarious Rape Jokes Cleverly, and far-right pin-up Suella Braverman. Twice! A woman who says multiculturalism has failed, even though her, Patel, Javid Cleverly, Sunak, Kwarteng, Zahawi, Badenoch are proof that even if you do have brown skin, you too can become a vicious, festering, regressive, lying, greedy, nasty, eye-wateringly wealthy, but morally bankrupt cunt. No fewer than 16 housing ministers, which explains why the UK is the most difficult place to find a home in the developed world. In 2000, a home cost 4 times the average salary. Now it costs 8 times the average salary, and workers are 11 grand worse off a year after 15 years of almost completely unprecedented wage stagnation. We've gone from 29 billionaires to 177 billionaires, whilst the working classes endured crippling austerity. The highest taxes in 70 years, lowest corporate taxes in 50 years. The rich are richer and the poor are much poorer, and your average high street is boarded up. We've endured David Cameron's hubris, Theresa May's chaos, Boris Johnson's lies, and Liz Truss throwing £30 billion of your money down the shitter. 100 billion in lost trade due to Brexit, 40 billion in lost tax revenues due to Brexit, whilst our farmers and our fishermen were sold down the river. The worst trade deficit since records began, and our national debt is now at 3 trillion. Average student debt has gone from 5k to 50k. Homelessness has doubled, child poverty has tripled, an energy crisis that has little to do with the war in Ukraine and more to do with unfettered capitalism and unbridled greed. Highest energy bills in Europe, with 6.7 million people currently living in fuel poverty. The party of law and order have overseen record backlogs in the Crown Court, delays of 5 years for rape cases, with rapists being spared jail because the prisons are full. Chronic shortages of judges on top of a narrative that says they're all enemies of the people. They sold off 600 police stations. They cut police numbers by 21,000, then increased police numbers by 20,000, which is not an increase in police numbers, no matter how many times they tell you it is. Highest train fares in Europe, lowest state pension in Europe, longest waiting lists in NHS history, a nation with rotting teeth and people being hospitalised with malnutrition and scurvy, billions of taxpayers' money wasted on PPE contracts for their rich mates, and they let the bodies pile high and kill tens of thousands of pensioners during the pandemic, and then they lied about it. They cut our armed forces, they closed and sold off our fire stations, they closed, then sold off our libraries, they didn't build those 40 new hospitals, and they forced councils into bankruptcy. They wasted billions on HS2. They voted to allow bankers to have unlimited bonuses. They allowed BP and Shell to steal our oil and gas reserves without paying taxes, whilst Norway, of course, went the other way and has a sovereign wealth fund of over 1.6 trillion. And record amounts of our tammies and turds are being churned into our rivers and oceans by our privatised water companies. Windrush, Grenfell, Partygate, Barnard Castle, 30p Lee, bullying, affairs, groping and rape and tractor porn and Chris Pincher and corruption and dirty deals and racist donors and lies and lies and lies. And yes, the pandemic didn't help and the war in Ukraine hasn't helped, but don't believe them when they tell you that that's the reason that you are poorer this week than you were last week, whilst Rishi Sunak is richer this week than he was last week. Rishi Sunak cut taxes on champagne on the same day he cut funding to rebuild schools, and he wants to bring back national service. What else are they going to bring back? Grandstand? Spam on the national health? Snickers going back to marathon? I look forward to voting these incompetent, hubristic grifters out, and I hope they spend a very long time in the wilderness and have a really good think about what they just did. Well, a trip down memory lane there with some highs and some lows from the last 14 years.
Well, as that finishes, the polls are now closed. Have you had your say? Have you been down to the polling station today and cast your vote? Well, the exit poll is out, and we are showing that Labour are in for a landslide victory at getting 410 seats. The Conservatives are going for 131 seats, and Liberal Democrats are going for 61 seats. But we did have a little bit of breaking news before the exit poll, Callum. Can you bring us up to speed a little bit?
So the exit poll that's just come out, obviously, we are now looking at a Labour landslide, 410 votes for the Labour Party, 131 for the Conservatives, and just 61 for the Lib Dems, which is a surprise. So the Lib Dems and the Conservatives were at one stage today pitted against each other to do, well, the Conservatives not as well as people thought, and the Lib Dems better than people thought, way better, but that doesn't appear to be the case. And actually what we've seen is that the parties fallen into line with how we assumed things would be going, with that Labour majority coming in. And I will have to check just quickly, but are we on for the biggest majority in, I think, nearly 100 years, 94 years or something? Possibly. I'll have to fact check that, but yeah, it's looking good for Keir Starmer.
Yeah. It certainly is. And to be fair, I didn't think that the exit poll would show such a massive majority.
No, I'm impressed. Very, especially with Reform, actually, looking at that. 13 seats for Reform.
That's quite good.
They were predicted to get 6, so that's almost double what they were predicted, which is impressive for them. And one of them certainly will be Nigel Farage in Clacton upon Sea. So it will be interesting to see him within government, really, back in Parliament, or in Parliament being able to put questions to the MPs that he's been heckling from the sidelines for so long.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So as the ticker at the bottom will change, there we are, predicted to get 410 seats there. Green Party 2, SNP 10, and then other 23. Is one of those 23 going to be Jeremy Corbyn?
I suspect we will have to wait for a while to find out, but there is a very, very strong possibility of that, considering the things that have been generated in the last 3 weeks in Islington North. The sounds coming out of that are that he still has a very strong power base there, and people respect what he does for local residents and local businesses enough that they will put their trust in him as an independent and not the party that he says he's formally represented.
So just to break it down a little bit, the time frame for it. So we're looking at getting the first seats declared at around 11:30. Always looking towards Sunderland for that one. And then at 4:30 in the morning, we're going to likely know for certain who will form a government. So as we've passed over it, so exit poll. What is an exit poll, Callum? I know we touched briefly on it in the podcast yesterday, but let's just bring us back up to speed with what is an exit poll.
So an exit poll is a poll commissioned by the big news broadcasters across the country. So this one has been carried out by Ipsos UK for Sky News, the BBC and ITV News. It means that it's not paid for by the political parties and therefore has no bias. It takes into account the last results of the last general election in 2019, the local election results, and the last weeks of campaigning, how the national mood has been with the things like the Survation poll and the YouGov polls that have come out that we analysed on the last episode. And it comes out with this result, which historically has been very, very, very close to how the night has actually panned out. I believe you did a little bit of research into just how close these have been before we came on, but the last time that these have been wrong, I think, was 2015. Maybe I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, as I scroll back down to where it was, because when my computer died, everything died. So so the current model was devised in 2005 by Professor John Curtis and statistician David Firth. It has been considerably reliable, bar in 2015 when the seat numbers suggested a hung parliament and David Cameron scraped a thin majority. But for the most part, it's accurate, has been depended. In 2010, it correctly predicted the exact numbers of the seats for the Conservatives. As Callum said, it's commissioned by the broadcasters Sky News, the BBC and ITV News. The field work is carried out by Ipsos UK, who have interviewers at 133 polling stations around the country this year. So people who have just voted, will be asked to privately fill in a replica ballot paper and place into a ballot box as they leave their local community centre, church hall or station. Researchers can then deploy to a fraction of the total constituencies in England, Scotland and Wales, so locations are chosen to best reflect the demographics of the country with an urban and rural spread. However, many of the locations will be in marginal seats where the swing between the main parties will be tracked. The same polling stations are targeted year after year, so the swing from the last election's exit poll, along with other data at constituency level, can be analysed by those crunching the numbers. So the data collected at the polling stations is sent back to interviewers to Ipsos UK at several stages throughout the day, and it's processed there and sent via a secure data pipeline to the broadcasters, statisticians and political scientists who are locked down in a secret location in the capital.
I like that. They're locked down in a secret location, like Professor John Curtis is just trapped in a bunker somewhere all day.
I mean, as I do say that, you just like look over and glance at Sky News, and then that one of the political correspondents is in the back of a black cab.
He's in the back of a taxi, yeah, with a cushion that says Sky News election night. So I wonder where he's going, because they'll be sending them somewhere. But I don't know.
He's going to a secure bunker.
He's just coming out, I believe, of his secure bunker. That's the face of a man that's lost the security of his bunker.
So just a little bit of a breakdown on the exit polls. So as we have stated, Labour is to win a landslide victory. So Labour will win a landslide victory in this general election, defeating the Conservative Party that has been in power since 2010. The broadcaster's exit poll suggests Labour is predicted to win 410 seats, giving Sir Keir Starmer a majority of 170 seats, according to the poll by Ipsos UK for Sky News, BBC and ITV. Conservative Party is expected to crash to 131 seats, despite Labour likely having secured a landslide win. The final majority of 170 may fall 9 short of what was achieved by Tony Blair in 1997. Both the Tory party's share of the vote and seat tally could be the lowest in the party's history. The party's final seat tally may have been hit by rising support for Reform UK, which is forecast to win 13 seats. Though the final tally is highly uncertain, the Lib Dems have performed exceptionally well in seats where they started second to the Conservatives, particularly those they held up until 2015, and the SNP's performance appears to be worse than most polls anticipated, winning just 10 seats. But yes, so come tomorrow morning, Keir Starmer will be walking down Downing Street to walk through the door of number 10 as the first ballot boxes arrive in Sunderland for them to start counting, and he'll be opening up that door. And they're not.
Are people running? They used to run. This used to be a great country. I've dropped my pen. It's all gone wrong.
Something screams health and safety in Sunderland.
I made no wrong with it. Just run with the box.
Oh no, they are running inside.
They are. See, told you.
They are running inside. We've got the elderly people counting. They are trying to do
The old women of
the
Blythe.
first. A blue Vauxhall Corsa has just pulled up outside, and they're quickly bundling all these ballot boxes.
Wow.
I don't even think she's put the handbrake on. She's literally
This is
handing them.
live.
They're running into the
found
entrance.
my pen.
They
I've
want
got
to
my
be the
pen.
first.
Got
He's
my
got his
pen.
pen.
Don't worry, everyone. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is absolutely fine. This is like a Formula One pit stop. This is like, oh
do you
my
know? It almost reminds me of Fastest Finger First.
God.
You just got elderly people there quickly, just like counting. I can't count to 10 that quick.
This is the night that they've been training for 14 years. Well, technically, there was an election in between that. So I'd say 5 years. This is the night that they've been training for 5 years. She just sits at home, right, with a pad of Post-it notes, right, and just flicks through them like that and just counts. And then she counts them really slowly and tries to make sure that the numbers are right.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we are getting some breaking news. Jeremy Hunt is among several cabinet ministers set to lose their seat in the general election. The broadcaster's exit poll suggests the Chancellor is the most high-profile Tory seat set to miss out. The poll says, which the Liberal Democrats are most likely to take his seat in Godalming and Ash. Not a clue. It's live. Sorry. Grant Shapps. Grant Shapps, the Defence Minister, and Johnny Mercer, the Veterans Minister, could also lose out in their respective constituencies.
Johnny Mercer is Plymouth, yeah?
Doesn't say, but we've also got Mark Harper, who's Transport Secretary, Mel Stride, Work and Pensions, Steve Barclay, who's in Environment, and someone who we have basically said is very good at her job and probably should be in Rishi Sunak's shoes right now. Penny Mordaunt, who is the Commons leader, have all been noted as too close to call by the poll.
So the problem with that is I would expect Rishi Sunak to stand down after a result like this as leader of the Conservative Party. However, two of the people that you've said there were the favourites to replace him.
Penny Mordaunt,
and the third one you said that I've forgotten begins with a G. Oh no, I've forgotten it. This is the problem.
Just to let you know, all the names there that I just read out don't begin with a G.
Mel Stride. I don't know where I got the G from. Ignore it.
Mel Stride. Mel Stride begins with a G now, guys. Mel Stride.
Gamel Stride.
Gamel Stride.
Mel Guide.
We've got Terry Ellis in here saying Grant Shapps. Grant Shapps. You heard that right. Grant Shapps, right. The Defence Minister, is set to miss out on his seat.
Schnapsy's gone.
But I think the biggest one, obviously the biggest one there is Jeremy Hunt.
Yeah, that's huge. Considering that was a seat that he was drafted into because it's a safe seat, supposedly. Doesn't look that safe right now, does it?
One person that I did forget about, but do recall he doesn't have a seat because he was given the Lord Edge, David Cameron. Where's he going to be?
Lord Cameron is going to be exactly where he has been this whole time. Thanks, mate. Cheers. No, thanks. Although, thankfully, for the Conservatives and for the rest of the world, Grant Shapps is not in with a chance of the Tory leadership. Well, actually, maybe after this, if he keeps his seat, he could be the only one left.
So we have a race right now. A blue Ford Fiesta has now shown up in Blythe.
At this point, we are just describing what's happening on Sky News.
Followed by a red Mazda. So the race currently is between Blythe, Sunderland, and Newcastle.
This election night is boring.
Look at all these cars. We've got a Beamer. We've got an Audi. We've got a guy pretending that he works at an airport.
Come here. Back here with that ballot box. No wonder she's got her sporty trainers on. She's going to need it for all this running.
Why do they wear those gloves? Why do they wear rubber gloves?
So they don't get election diseases. True story.
Right. So.
Wait, oh no, the things on the hands, the things on the fingers.
No, the people that are running with the boxes.
Oh, I genuinely, I've never seen that before. I don't know. She's just bought some new gloves from B&Q today and just fancied showing them off. So TV cameras are going to be there. I'm going to put my new gloves on. It's going to be like top quality, like.
Right.
Going to be on Sky.
Let's move on. Let's move away from the fun. We'll go back to the fun shortly. So,
More fun, momentarily.
In UK, obviously, we do this because we are a democratic country, so we can choose who we want to be in charge of our country, and to dictate that, we do something called first past the post. Obviously, there's 650 seats in the Commons, and is it 325 that's classed the majority, and not the majority, but is classed first past the post?
To win an overall majority and prevent a hung parliament,
yeah. Which kindly moves me on to what if we don't get a majority winner?
Well, if we don't get a majority winner, the exit poll will be the worst exit poll on record. Now that we've had that, but considering we're talking like I don't know the result of the exit poll, that it isn't just staring at me just over the screen there, like looking at me like what? Ooh. But if there was no majority winner, we would have a hung parliament, which is a nightmare for everybody involved. Because when you have a hung parliament, no party is the majority. So you put your legislation to the House of Commons, the other side don't like it, and the other side will always have enough MPs to be able to vote it down. So nothing ever gets done unless both sides are in agreement. And just how many times have the Conservatives and Labour been in agreement about anything in the last, 14 years? Never. So that's why Theresa May had to go to the DUP and get their MPs to essentially back her so that she could win that overall majority and get into the House of Commons without too much mess.
I'd really love to know what Sky News are saying to this guy. With
Sir John Red, the Conservative,
the blue Conservative thing on his chest, because
I don't want to get
very disgusted.
He looks really angry. I don't want to get copyright struck, so I'm not going to press unmute. But yeah, he looks very well. I assume that's going to be a good game to play tonight. Just count how many angry Tories you can watch on the TV and how many people for the Labour Party are looking, going, I can't believe it. It's just amazing. I never thought this would happen.
If you are wanting to know who we're talking about, he is called Sir Robert Buckland. That's the one. I was so close. And then I started talking and I was like, oh, I've forgotten his name.
Indeed. So yeah, if we don't get a majority winner, then we get a hung parliament. But in this case, I find that ridiculously hard to believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's somebody at the door.
I thought you'd react how you reacted earlier.
I did. A little bit of my brain went, oh, there's somebody at my door. Oh, no. And then another bit of my brain went, come on, Callum, keep it together. They can wait. They'll just have to wait. They'll live. They'll just have to wait.
Well, here at the Bedlam Podcast, we're all about a little bit of fun.
I could swear about it earlier. I can't now.
So, here at the Bedlam Podcast, we are all here for a little bit of fun, but this is very serious. But it's not been a very serious campaign for one party in particular, Lib Dems. But there's been some quite funny moments. So let's have a little look back at those moments.
This is proof that the plan and priorities I set out are working. I recognise that it has not always been easy.
Finally. Are you looking forward to the election? Can you win it? Can you win it?
You're going to love it. I'm coming on it. It's got a fridge.
Party don't want the bus broadcast before Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer get here.
No one expects Labour was good in the polls, and we basically defied the odds. And
they know that they've got a job to get themselves up the news agenda ahead.
It's going to be blue, and it's going to come down.
Your weight makes it really. See, it was lackluster last. That looks fun.
There we go. I think you need 3 on there, and then you've really got some speed. I feel like applauding.
I'd say those turrets aren't that pronounced.
Including the cost of living!
And what about rejoining the single market?
Skydiving, motorcycling, fast catamaran sailing.
Higher taxes, higher taxes, higher taxes.
Mum was a nurse, my sister was a nurse, so the DNA, it runs through my DNA.
My mother had wheels, should be a bicycle. I don't answer questions beginning with the word if.
Let's do it. Clench your buttocks, turn around.
It is certainly the case that I've got used to slicing and dicing.
Are you saying that to save the climate, we've got to ban the burger?
So my favourite meal generally is sandwiches.
And there was a packet of Haribos. So
He just put the phone down on me.
And that was regarding Grant Shapps, who is down to lose his seat.
He's currently sitting at home going like this to every phone call that comes through.
Oh, God. Right, so Ed Conway has been talking. Oh, in fact, here we go. So, it just came up on the screen and it's flashed off.
It did. So cool. Labour are likely to gain Plymouth Moorview, which is Johnny Mercer's seat. They're too close to calls for the rest of the cabinet, apart from Jeremy Hunt, who is a possible Lib Dem gain, and also Grant Shapps in Llewellyn Hatfield, which is Labour gain. The rest too close to call at the minute.
So we have found out who the guy was in the back of the cab. It was Ed Conway. He was talking about the exit poll and just crunching the numbers just a little bit.
Why was he crunching the numbers in the back of a taxi? Was he not invited to the studio?
The data and economics editor, Ed Conway of Sky News, was one of those inside the room when the exit poll was being announced. Now, he wasn't inside the room because he was in the back of a cab in central London. He's been analysing the numbers. And he says that there's never been an electoral collapse like this. What the Conservatives have experienced in terms of fall in their support has been worse than anything we can see going back decades, possibly ever. It's worse that Lib Dems collapse in 2015, which up until now was one of the most historical collapses we'd ever seen. This is worse. It's happening to the governing party, which again is something that might be unprecedented. He explains how the swing from Tory to Labour could be record-breaking, beating Tony Blair's government. The number of Conservatives is also on track to be the lowest since back in the 1830s, he adds. Everything suggests people were out there voting against the Conservative Party. Another significant figure is the 13 seats predicted for Reform UK, who are a brand new party. Conway says it shows the party is having an enormous impact on the election, and the SNP is also predicted to fall to just 10 seats, which he says would be a catalysm result.
So the thing that I've sort of picked up from this is that this is, even though, you know, they are finishing third by the results of the exit poll, this is a really, really good result for the Lib Dems, because it means that they kick the SNP out of that third spot in Westminster, and it means that the Lib Dems now actually get a chance every week to put questions to the Prime Minister, Prime Minister's questions, because the third largest party always has that right. So now they can really challenge the government in a way that they have said that they've been frustrated by not being able to do in recent years, by always being that fourth party.
So I have just put in the back channel. You can have a look by constituency and see what everything is. I'm not going to give that a go as he types his postcode in. Oh no, it's actually quite all right. So for instance, one of our areas, Leeds Southwest and Morley, it is likely to be a Labour gain, and the likelihood of that is a 99% possibility.
Wow, doesn't get more certain than that, really. Oh, David Lammy is on the television, probably saying, "It looks like we've had a good night. We're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves just yet." As the Labour Party will do all night until this is in the bag. They're going to say nothing like, "Yeah, we've won." It's going to be things like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I reckon we've done okay. We've had a good night. We think we've done quite well.
It's, Clone Valley, is that held by
that's
our little mate Jason McCartney?
That's my constituency.
It is currently looking like a Labour gain.
Interesting.
Which we are going to see. You're going to see this a lot. So it's going to be a Labour gain almost everywhere. If what is going to come through, it's going to be a Labour gain everywhere. Conservative, you will not see gain a seat.
No. Based on these results, certainly they will hold some seats. They will lose many more, but they will not gain a single one.
Yes.
So there was I don't know if you saw, there was a documentary on New Labour when obviously Tony Blair won that landslide, and he's sitting on the plane with his wife on the election night, and he's got, obviously we're not using them anymore, but a pager. Angela Rayner's on the television. Angela Rayner is on the television.
It's after 6 o'clock, guys. It's after 6 o'clock.
Angela Rayner is on the television in the pouring rain, wherever she is.
But she has enough money to buy an umbrella.
A blue umbrella? That's bold.
That's got to be a piss take.
Yeah,
the only thing that can protect Angela Rayner, the only thing that can protect Angela Rayner is something blue.
A wonderful new blue umbrella. What was
so while we've been talking,
the exit poll, and then as the night went on and Labour won that massive landslide, all you saw was Labour gain, Labour gain, Labour gain, Labour gain, Labour gain. And he writes somewhere in his book, I think, I remember looking and thinking, Christ, the Tories have got to win some seats. Which I think is a situation that we're going to end up in ourselves. Well, they're not going to hold them.
So the I mean, not the laughing stock, but the fun-loving guy, Sir Ed Davey, is humbled by voters. He has said Liberal Democrats have been reacting to the exit poll, which suggests that they will win 61 seats. If this is the case, the party will have secured the best result in a century. They need to make 29 gains, bringing them to 37 seats in order to have the highest number of MPs won by the party at a general election since 1923. Leader Sir Ed Davey said he was humbled by the support from voters. He's also continued to say the Liberal Democrats are on course for one of the best results in a century thanks to our positive campaign with health and care at its heart. I'm humbled by the millions of people who have backed the Liberal Democrats to both kick the Conservatives out of power and deliver the change our country needs. Every Liberal Democrats MP will be a strong champion for their community, standing up for the NHS and care. Whether you voted for us or not, we will work day in and day out, and we will not let you down. So, just out of curiosity, so we know that when Rishi Sunak announced the election was going to be today, that was the end of Parliament. So Parliament was dissolved. All the MPs became just normal sort of politicians, and had to campaign for their seats again. But when does Parliament open back up again?
So Parliament will open back up again when, well, Actually, that's quite a good question, because after winning an election, Keir Starmer is summoned to see the King and is asked, or he asks the King to form a government in his name. That happens, and then you get all the fun bits of starting to build your government. But technically, the MPs are MPs again the moment they win their seats. Technically, they're not in the government, but they are MPs.
So when they all go back to Parliament and sit in their seats, obviously Labour will be on the left-hand side.
Other side, yeah, the left-hand side of the chamber.
The opposition will be sat opposite them. But do they've got a state opening, don't they?
So the state opening of Parliament is not actually the opening of Parliament. The state opening of Parliament happens like at any time. So Parliament will be open and things will be happening. And then they'll have the state opening of Parliament. It's more a ceremonial thing. But it is a chance then to get the things that you've been trying to fight for in legislation written into law.
So it's not the part where she comes across.
Yeah,
it's Black Rod, close the door.
It's the same. That's the same day. And then the King comes into the chamber, sits on the chair and reads out the legislation that will be written into law.
This is what I want my government to form. My government will form this. My government will form that.
Pretty much.
So it's, everyone's good mate. Terrier Ellis has been back on. Just watching Sunderland and Blythe. Do you think that they're effective dishing out the Deliveroo order at the end of the night?
Depends what they've gone through. Sorry, depends what they've gone for, because if you've gone for pizzas, that's easy. You can just margarita, ham and pineapple, mushroom and other horrible things, pepperoni, meat feast, bang, 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 done. Right? But if you've gone for like an Indian, you can't start throwing that around. There'll be rice and masala everywhere. It'll be a nightmare.
A little bit of Boris Johnson did come out then.
Well, you know, I feel sorry for him. Feel sorry for him. He's not got a job anymore.
Did I not see a video yesterday of his dad saying he was going to vote Lib Dems?
You did indeed. Stanley Johnson is voting Lib Dems, which is quite funny. He probably only wanted to vote Conservative when his son was the leader of said party.
Don't know what you're talking about. I've not.
Considering he also campaigned for the Remain campaign when his son was fronting the Leave campaign all the way through Brexit. And then at the last minute, switched over.
So because we're changing parties, it's not going to affect Brexit, is it?
Possibly. It depends.
So what was it everyone talking about? Was it the single market or something like that?
So the Lib Dems want to rejoin the single market. Labour have said that they won't do that. But Labour have also said that they won't be as closed with European neighbours. They're going to be a bit more open. So in terms of like freedom of movement and trade deals, being more receptive of things like that, that's probably going to happen. The Rwanda scheme will be in the bin probably by the morning. That's not going to happen now. We're going to get this. What did they call it? The border task force or whatever it is, which is Labour's idea of tackling the illegal immigration crisis. So things are going to change, probably quite quickly.
News just in: Islington North, the seat where Jeremy Corbyn is. It's currently too close to call between Jeremy Corbyn and Labour. Breaking news coming out of Rochdale. George Galloway is set to lose his Rochdale seat to Labour. The Mirror tomorrow morning are running with Here We Go.
Yeah. It's it'd be interesting to see how the newspapers fall into line now, because today we've had the Daily Express basically saying, God's sake, whatever you do, vote Tory. And we've had other newspapers saying that they're not going to endorse any party, but they will get behind whoever wins.
So when Angela Rayner has been talking to BBC News, she said it would be an honour and privilege to serve as Deputy Prime Minister, but says she's not counting her chickens until all the results have been declared.
Told you. I told you they'd say something like that. Look at an exit poll that massive and go, well, nothing's decided yet, is it?
So the disillusion
My phone's doing that
period.
noise thing again, by the way.
My phone, your phone.
Someone's phone. There's only two of us here.
My phone. Can you still hear it now?
No.
Right. Shit. The dissolution period. What's that?
So you know when a prime minister resigns and you get a resignation honours list?
Yeah.
It's essentially that, but for when Parliament is dissolved.
Right.
So
oh God, not already.
Sorry, we keep
I've been yawning already.
Sorry, we're keeping you awake. We're keeping you awake, are we?
Already, oh my God. When Parliament is dissolved, then certain people can be nominated to become life peers, which is essentially you get a seat in the House of Lords until you die.
Ah, right, okay. So we got here, so it came out an hour ago, just obviously before the poll shut. So it was, so Rishi Sunak's is Liam Booth Smith, who is his chief of staff. Sir Graham Brady, who is the leader of the
1922.
Was 1 year off. So they're the ones that have been doing all the leader sort of campaigns and stuff like that you've seen over the last couple of years. We've got Chris Grayling, Dame Eleanor Lang, Craig McKinley.
Yeah, Craig McKinley, yeah.
Sir Alok Sharma, and one big name on there is Theresa May.
So these are not unexpected people to see on that list, because the Prime Minister hasn't exactly made many friends within his own party, but those people, especially Alok Sharma and Theresa May, have been probably some of the closest people that he's had in Parliament.
We've got Keir Starmer's list is Margaret Beckett, John Cryer, Harriet Harman, Margaret Hodge, Kevin Jones, Barbara Keeley, John Speller, and Rosie Winterton.
Again, no great surprises there. Lots of them are either advisors or former ministers that are retiring this year. Harriet Harman and Margaret Beckett being two of those that are retiring this year. Harriet Harman playing a massive role in Gordon Brown's government, and Margaret Beckett playing a massive role in Tony Blair's government.
And we've also got a couple of knighthoods as well. So Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden, Julian Smith.
Sorry. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Julian Smith, Alistair Jack, and probably one of the most notable people on there that's done a tremendous job in the position as Defence Secretary. We've got Ben Wallace.
Yeah, I think most of those. Sorry, just say the second to last one again.
Alistair Jack.
Yes, Alistair Jack. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So we are now getting more information out now regarding the exit poll. So as you can tell, we are filling for time. We're not actually. This is what happens in a live stream.
Loads of things to talk about.
So the exit poll predicts a massive landslide victory for Labour, knocking the Conservative Party to its worst election result in history. But how should we take the poll? So if you go to the Sky News website, you can go and read all about it there on the exit poll and how it's calculated, how to read it. But we have already been over that and how it is done. So how accurate is it? So let's compare the results from previous years to get a feel for how close the reality the exit poll is. So in the last election in 2019, the broadcaster's exit poll was remarkably close to the actual results. The 368 seats were projected to be won by Boris Johnson's Conservative Party compared to 365 at the final count. So that's just a couple out. The Labour Party, then run by Jeremy Corbyn, do you remember him? Won 12 more seats than the poll predicted. And just a couple of years earlier in 2017, the poll was within 4 seats for both the Conservatives and Labour. A bit further back to 2005, when it first came about, the exit poll projected 11 more seats than were actually won by the Conservative Party. If we travel all the way back to 1997, the last time a massive landslide was won by Labour, and again, the results were fairly accurate. A BBC exit poll was spot on for the Tories with 165 seats and only 3 seats away from hitting the nail on the head for Labour total, which was projected at 422, but the actual count was 419. So the big question, should we trust it? We have to stress here that the exit poll is absolutely not the final result, but in previous years have shown it to be genuinely accurate. When it was wrong, it's usually off by a couple of seats, so offers a really good insight into how the voting could pan out. Crucially, it's never been wrong when predicting the biggest party, and here is a reminder of the exit poll for this year. So as predicted, Labour are set to get 410 seats. The second biggest party, which is predicted, is the Conservatives with a surprising 131 seats, with the third being the Liberal Democrats, followed by Reform UK, the newest party into the group this year, with 13 seats. The others, also the Independents, are predicted to get 23 seats. SNP 10, Green are set to get 2 seats.
2 pieces of breaking news for you. Richard Holden, the Conservative Party chair, his seat is seen as a 3-way marginal between himself, Labour and Reform, with him predicting to hold that seat but only by 6%. So that will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. And also a further piece of breaking news for you is that Huddersfield Town have confirmed the signing of Anthony Evans from Bristol Rovers on a 3-year contract for an undisclosed fee. Welcome to the Terriers, Anthony. There we go.
What did you say about
Peter
Tory
Mandelson
chair?
is on the BBC. Richard Holden is predicted to. He's in a 6-way marginal at the minute. I'll find it again. Hold on. I just had it. That's really irritating.
The bit that I've got here is a 56% chance Tory chair Richard Holden keeps his Basildon and Billericay seat.
So the 6% is the 6% beyond 50?
56%.
56%. But the 50% is dangerous numbers. Yeah. Dangerous numbers. The 6%. Ideally, you want as far away from that as possible. Yeah. So to have only 56% and not like 70%, that's dangerous when it's a 3-way fight.
We have a question in the chat, and I'm going to go and try and find it again. Because I can't remember where it is.
Exit poll.
Yeah. I have said don't ignore us, Flower. We're not. Don't worry. We're sat talking about other things. You should have been here earlier on and you would have understood what was going on.
Are you trying to fight with members of the audience?
No, I recognise the name. Don't you worry. We're going to become. If it's the person I'm thinking about, we are going to come to Bloomfield Road and absolutely whoop.
It's the person you're thinking about. It is.
Right.
The exit poll.
Let's
do this. Let's do this. The exit poll is predicted on 3 things: the results of the previous election, the constituency results of the local elections, and the campaign and how it's run, and all of the individual polls. You know, just calm yourself down. He's not even had a monster yet. He's this is just running on fumes, this man. But yeah, it's also then done on the individual polling from the. Oh, he's had a monster. Individual polls from throughout the campaign. So you've had the Ipsos polls and the Survation polls that have all said Labour win, Labour win, Labour win. They put it all together, but because it's paid for by the TV companies and not any political party, it is completely unbiased. And because it's paid for by 3 different TV companies, it costs a lot of money, and it's very, very accurate because of that. Thank you very much.
As stated, Kyle, how accurate is the exit poll? Do you want me to reread that again?
Somebody needs to just take a breath, take a moment, reconsider.
Thanks for your comment there, Kyle. Thanks for your comment. Enjoy Jordan Rhodes.
Oh, don't remind me.
If the next question,
you died again,
Kyle.
Me? Oh no, you're not. You're back. It's fine. Don't scare me like that. There's no need to do it.
If the next question to come is the amount of rage that's coming at me at the moment. The next question is something to do with, Alfie May didn't want to go to town. We don't need Alfie May. We've got Bojan.
I would have liked to have Alfie May.
Yeah, when he's not injured, when he's not fucking lying in body hospital.
There we go. That's better for all of us, right? Okay. Just for a moment, let's just have a minute, yeah. Just here right now. Right here, right now. Don't you try and de-read me out of this. Just because you control the sounds and I don't really know what's going on, I'm just here.
Well, as you said to me that you needed me, I am the presenter. I am.
Well, you are
the man.
Exactly what you are. I don't know what any of these buttons do, but I can press all of them. See what happens. Oh. Sunak's falling apart today. Rishi Sunak's falling apart again. Yeah, that's enough of that. That's it. Stop. Oh, I'm not very good at this. Not very good at this. But okay. Would you stop ringing my doorbell? It's gone on it. Game's gone. Politics has gone. This has just turned into another Bedlam episode.
I mean, it's a cause chaos and confusion. Hell, Callum.
That's true.
Where were you when we made the name of the podcast?
It's one thing I don't believe we've actually looked at right now. The amount of seats projected to be lost by each party or gained. The Liberal Democrats are set to gain 51. Reform set to gain 13, obviously building on a base of nil point. So that will be hard. The SNP are set to lose 38 seats. Plaid Cymru set to gain... Have you not seen that clip?
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Copyrighted.
Here comes the fun sponge. joking.
See that right? So we can see the numbers in the top left-hand corner, and it's always been one specific number all the way through. I'm going to say it's always been 1.
Yeah.
And that one person is potentially probably still here, obviously, and is also a football fan. So currently, Kyle's a bit outnumbered here.
No, because that it's now telling me that there's still one person here. But if that's the case, then why are there multiple people leaving? Unless it's just one person with different personas that's got into got into our contacts and like is just jumping between accounts to leave messages.
No, so it says for me 2, which would say that it's Adam and Kyle.
Says
one
one for
device,
me.
2 viewers.
Says one for me.
Right. If you are watching, leave a comment because we can see them.
Let's have a look at the Lib Dem forecasted
Right.
votes. The Lib Dems are due to gain 1% of the vote share in the South and lose 1% of the vote share in London. So
Going on from what I said earlier about people losing and gaining and stuff like that, we do have a couple of percentages now. So we will go over them. Right, so we've got Labour. Oh, hang on. So we have 12 minutes ago, breaking news from the Conservative Party spokesperson said that this is a projection, not a result, and it's important to wait to see the actual results come in. But if these results are correct, it's clear that Starmer and Angela Rayner will be in Downing Street tomorrow. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
no way.
That means your taxes will rise and our country will be less secure. Anyway, going on from...
Hang on. I'm going to click across here. We don't have a breaking news banner, but Nigel Farage is projected to win Clapton. It would mean that he becomes an MP at his 8th attempt.
Hey, has he never been an MP before?
No, he's been a member of the European Parliament, but not an actual sitting MP in the UK.
Crazy. Right, so we've got a couple of things here. So Labour is projected to win Chingford and Woodford Green, beating incumbent Ian Duncan Smith and independent Faiza Shaheen. There is a 94% chance that Grant Shapps is set to lose his seat. There's also a 56% chance. Oh, we've done that. Veterans, we've done that as well. Carla Dana is projected to win Bristol Central for the Greens from Labour. Wow, Labour.
Big for the Greens. Big for the Greens, wow. But she has run a not terrible campaign, which for a Green party is pretty rare.
So Penny Mordaunt, she is Portsmouth North. She is set to lose her seat, and there's a 70% chance of that. There's an 81% chance that Jeremy Hunt is to lose his seat to the Lib Dems, making him the first ever Chancellor to lose at an election. There is an 84% chance that Liz Truss retains her Norfolk Southwest seat. Let's keep looking.
Professor Sir John Curtis has said much of the damage being done to the Conservative Party tonight has been done by reform, which is interesting considering that they've picked up 13.
No, right. So
that to have been higher, probably.
I'm going to have an argument with you now, Callum.
Right, bring it.
Right. So these are seats and not a vote share.
Correct.
So the vote share for each seat has made it either too close to call or has bumped up for Labour. So that is why they're probably blaming Reform UK.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. That wasn't much of an argument because I just agree.
Ta-da!
Yep, but I also don't think that. I'll leave you with that. Lorraine Beavers standing in Blackpool. Sorry, I've just crashed. Sorry, she's the candidate for Blackpool. Blackpool North. Is it? Is it Blackpool North? Blackpool North and Fleetwood. Oh my God, what a result that is. Oh, Blackpool North and Fleetwood. Yeah, Lorraine Beavers, the Labour candidate for Blackpool North. I've never actually seen a picture of her before. And yeah, looks like she should be up the prom trying to sell me undercooked donuts.
Grant Shapps.
Yeah.
How long has he held his seat for?
A long time.
Without Google it. Don't Google it. Don't Google it.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head because it's Grant Shapps. I just imagine he's been around forever. Like, well, I don't know.
So,
trees.
Is it Welwyn Hadfield? Welwyn Hadfield.
Well, fucking hell.
Anyway, it was a Labour seat under Blair's first 2 terms, and it's been a key target this time. Grant Shapps has been in that seat for you absolute set of dweebs. How dare you spout that in
Rock on, Rocker.
in our chat?
Enjoy it. I've not watched a second. Not watched a second this year.
Good, thank God. 19 years is held his seat for. And he's set to lose it.
Christ, I didn't think it was that long.
They're set to have their declaration at 3:30 in the morning.
I also didn't know that Grant Shapps went to my university. That's a worrying thought. But Grant Shapps is a man with more jobs than, well, anyone, I think, in Parliament at the minute. He's currently, or has been, sorry, the Secretary of State for Defence, the Secretary of State for Energy Security and Net Zero, the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. He has been the Home Secretary for all of a few months. He was the Secretary of State for Transport. He was the Minister of State for International Development. He was the Chairman of the Conservative Party. He was a Minister without portfolio. He was the Minister of State for Housing and Local Government. He was the Shadow Minister for Housing and Planning. He was the... I think that's all he's been, actually. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jobs.
So just following on. So the guy who does the exit poll, Sir John Curtis, who you said much of the damage has been done by the Conservative Party. No, it hasn't. It has. Much of the damage.
No, you're right.
Much of the damage being done to the Conservative Party tonight is being done by Reform. He's followed on by saying that the exit poll predictions of 13 seats for Reform and 10 for SNP are the least certain.
Correct. I believe that Reform will have quite a few marginals within there that they'll be targeting on top of that 13. So the result could be better than we think, but I think if Reform are going to gain, they will be gains off the Conservatives or even off the SNP, possibly.
So the cities of London and Westminster, the financial hub of the country, are forecast to be won by Labour, gaining from the Conservatives.
Well, look at the mayor. You know, they said that you could never have a red mayor in London, and Sadiq Khan did eventually get in, even under a Conservative government at the time. So, you know.
So Theresa May's former constituency of Maidenhead has a 65% likelihood of remaining Conservative.
That's not surprising. That's about as surprising, actually, as the Liz Truss result. You know, those are areas that will probably never go anything other than blue. However, this is quite interesting. The seat of Broxbourne, which has voted Conservative every election since 1983, even during Blair's landslide victories, has a 95% likelihood of turning Labour.
You beat me
Big
to it.
moves.
I wanted to say that.
Big moves.
I wanted to say that.
No, you're not going to say it. And I've just had something else as well. Where has that gone? Where have you gone?
So it has just gone 11 o'clock. So here is just a little snapshot of what has happened so far. So the broadcaster's exit poll has predicted that Labour will win a landslide of 410 seats, relegating the Tories to their worst election result in the history on 131. Key members Jeremy Hunt, Grant Shapps and Penny Mordaunt are among the high-profile Tories who are set to miss out, according to the poll. Keir Starmer has thanked those who voted for his party today, but Labour is setting in for a long night as the results come in, and the political editor for Sky News, Beth Rigby, has said if the results are accurate, it represents a landmark moment. So that's that Labour are going to get 410 seats, Conservatives 131 and Lib Dems 61.
So the Conservative campaign...
Here's your weather.
Conservative campaign HQ have made a statement regarding the exit poll. If these results are correct, it is clear that Starmer and Angela Rayner will be in Downing Street tomorrow. That means your taxes will rise and our country will be less secure. I don't really understand the point of making a statement like that when polls have closed. It's not like you can change
I want to say
the
that. I want to say I said that earlier on, Matt.
I'm going to say you probably didn't, considering it came out a minute ago.
No, I did. It was earlier on. Are you on the same Politics UK Twitter page that I am?
No, I'm on British electoral politics.
Oh, I'm on.
Oh, well, shut up then.
Yeah, there you are. Conservative Party spokesman. This is a projection, not a result. It's important to wait and see what the actual result comes in. But if the results are correct, it's clear that Starmer and Angela Rayner will be in Downing Street tomorrow. That was 24 minutes ago. Catch up, pal.
Do you want to fight?
Bring it.
You fucking fight me.
I've already removed one person from this live.
Have you?
Yeah, he went to go watch Love Island, didn't he?
You didn't remove him then, did you?
There's a
Maya Jama removed him.
There's a 95% likelihood that Kemi Badenoch retains her Northwest Essex constituency.
Constituency!
She's Conservative, isn't she?
She is indeed.
So do you reckon that if she's the only one out of the big lot that can return her seat, that could potentially be the next leader of the Conservative Party?
I hope not, because that would be a disaster.
Because didn't she run for it before Keir Starmer did?
You mean Rishi Sunak?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, she did. She ran at the same leadership election as him and only dropped out at the last minute.
There's a 79% likelihood that Deputy Prime Minister Sir Oliver Dowden retains his Herts mayor seat. Education Secretary Gillian Keegan has an 85% chance of retaining her Chichester seat. Here we are. We've got news breaking now that Blyth and Ashlington are expected to be the first constituency to declare in less than 15 minutes. So that is record breaking because we had it down at 11:30.
We did indeed. And it's worth noting another record that will be broken if this exit poll is to be believed, that Rachel Reeves tomorrow will become the first ever female Chancellor of the Exchequer. Currently the Shadow Chancellor for the Labour Party. If this exit poll is to be believed, she will be the first ever female Chancellor.
She needs to get the job first as well. I mean, she can win a seat, but she may not be given the job.
Well, it would be very silly to make a shadow cabinet and then just change it all when you actually win the election.
Well, who knows? And it's coming out now saying that the Tory vote in the 2019 seats has decreased by an average of 28%, according to the exit poll. Look at this, right? I'm on the Sky News ticker as well, and it's so far behind because just a reminder from Sky News to me to tell you that Nigel Farage could be about to become an MP at the 8th time of asking. According to the broadcaster's exit poll, Reform UK leader is set to win election to Parliament in Claxon, Essex. It projects. It's saying it is a 99% likelihood that he's going to win that seat.
So I want to run you very quickly through what the cabinet might look like tomorrow in all of the major government positions and who will be taking them.
Okay, then.
So the new cabinet, obviously the Prime Minister will be Keir Starmer. The Deputy Prime Minister will be... Will you shut up? Thank you. The Deputy Prime Minister will be Angela Rayner. The Health Secretary will be Wes Streeting. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, as I've said. The Foreign Secretary will be David Lammy. The Home Secretary will be Yvette Cooper. The Education Secretary will be Bridget Phillipson. And Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change, the return of Ed Miliband.
Is he still going?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was his job again?
He was for a short time. Well, he's going to be the Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change.
Well then.
Obviously, he was the leader of the Labour Party for 5 years. And was preceded by Jeremy Corbyn. Preceded by Gordon Brown and succeeded by Jeremy Corbyn.
Reform UK are projected to win Great Yarmouth, billed as a three-way contest between them, Labour and the Tories. And Reform UK's deputy leader, David Bull, has said that the political revolt has only just started.
I'm not sure it has, for that anyway.
Labour's vote share in the 2019 seats has dropped by 1%. Did he say Wes Streeting has said that he'd never have imagined that Labour could recover from their 2019 defeat in just 5 years. There's also a 53% likelihood that Jacob Rees-Mogg is set to lose his seat in North East Somerset and Hannon.
Just because I think it'll be quite funny to watch you do it. Can you just tell me very quickly who the Green parties are about to beat in Bristol?
What?
Can you just tell me who is the current MP for Bristol West?
Bristol West.
Just because I think it's going to be quite funny.
West MP. Oh, Stephen Williams?
No.
Well, that's what it says here. Member of Parliament for Bristol West.
When?
I don't know. I've literally just... Up and Gangnam Style. No, I think I've got this. Callum. I've got this. Right. Guys, hit record. This is going to be a clip. Are we ready? The member of Parliament for Bristol West is Tangam Debonair.
Well done.
Not as stupid as I look, am I?
No, never.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. No worries, mate.
Cheers, bow. I've got some more information now coming in about how the election night will unfold. So polls closed just minutes ago. Minutes ago. Who's
Precisely
writing this
how many
stuff?
polls closed? Precisely 70 minutes ago-ish.
Who is writing this stuff for Sky News?
Not me.
There we go. They've just changed it. Right. I'll start reading again then, shall I? Thanks, editor of the Sky News website. Polls closed just over an hour ago in all 650 seats, and the counts are underway. We've had the broadcaster's exit poll, which has estimated an outcome of the election, and they have historically been on the money, a bite with a slight margin of error. By tomorrow morning, we expect to have all the results in every constituency, but and know which party will be running the United Kingdom for the next 5 years. So if you're staying up and you're following every twist and turn of election night, you can follow Callum at C. Scott Journal, because he probably will be up all night. I won't be.
I don't have a choice. I will be up until at least 7.
I have a 9-to-5 job, so I probably will be leaving shortly. When I say shortly, probably in about 50 minutes or so. So if you're staying up here, blah, 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 blah. Right, so 11:30. So the first results were expected. So counting got underway at 10 o'clock when the polls closed, and the first results were expected to be around 11:30. It's usually constituency in the northeast that have come through first. Blyth, Ashington, Houghton, and Sunderland South will be varying for the first declaration. At 1 o'clock, the first concrete indication of how the night is unfolding will happen. So expecting to start getting declarations in seats across the country from 1 a.m. as counts conclude. Counts will continue throughout the night, but at this point we'll start to get a sense of how things are going and whether the exit poll is broadly accurate. We're expecting to learn the result of Basildon and Billericay, where Conservative Party chairman Richard Holden is standing, having switched from a seat in Durham. Normally safe Tory haunt. If this goes to a recount, then it will show the depth of the trouble the party could be in. 2 o'clock in the morning, how the Red Wall is faring. We expect more and more seats to be declared at this point, especially in areas embolic of the correlation of voters for Boris Johnson won over in 2019, and it will show if those voters have stayed blue. If not, the likelihood of Jacob Young and Simon Clarke will not be heading back to Westminster as MPs. We also have an indication of how things will be going in Scotland, with seats likely in Rutherglen and Hamilton and Clyde Valley expected to have declared. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we are expecting will Tories big beasts keep their seats? So around this time, we expect to learn whether people like Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, I think we are getting a declaration now from Sunderland as well, so can't keep your eyes on that one. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, Sir Ian Duncan Smith, Transport Secretary Mark Harper, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, and leader of the Commons Party, Penny Mordaunt will keep her seat.
In Sunderland. There is a candidate in Sunderland that has gone up for the declaration wearing a Sunderland shirt. What a wonderful time to be alive.
And as the final votes in Sunderland come in at 4:30, confirmation of the next government. So around 4:30, we should have concrete confirmation of the colour of the next government, with one party expected to be crossed the magic number of 326. So Labour have holds in Sunderland. They have a majority of 7,169. The percentage turnout was 52%, and it was down 5% of the turnout on there for you. Copyright, thank you.
That's a big result for reform. Shut up. That's a big result for reform.
Yes, sir, as saying there. So the first one is in. It is Halton and Sunderland South. And it's Labour's Shadow Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, has won that seat with 18,837. In second place, it was Sam Woods Brass from Reform with 11,668. In third, it's Chris Bernicle from the Conservative Party with 5,514. We've got Paul Edgworth from the Lib Dems with 2,219. Richard Bradley from the Green Party with 1,723. So as we say, the turnout there, 52%, which is down 5% from the last general election, so 2019. Honest. So I think we may see more of that. I believe that the turnout is probably going to be a lot less this time round.
A lot of that turnout will be people that don't want to vote for reform, but would have been former Conservative voters in the past that have decided not to vote at all.
So I think that the turnout this year is going to be a lot less.
That's
probably
really
because
interesting.
of
The
everything
swing
that's happened.
there. I don't know if you've seen that. The swing there is really interesting because that seat has technically swung 3.4% to reform.
Jesus Christ.
The vote share is crazy. But we have the first result of the night, and as always, it is Sunderland. So well done. Well, Sunderland South. So well done to them again for keeping that impressive record up. The impressive record that comes around once every 5 years or so. So, they've got plenty of match practice in between.
To be fair, it did say that it was going to be, what is it, Majiggy? Blythe. So they
Blythe, yeah. So they'll be fuming that. There'll be people in Blythe throwing ballot boxes around. For God's sake, we had it all in the bag.
We've got some more breaking news coming out that cabinet ministers for Conservatives are expected to keep their seats. So that's Kemi Badenoch, Suella Braverman, do you remember her? Robert Jenrick and Tom Tugendhat. But we have our first dot on the board. It is a red dot, and that is up in Sunderland.
That is tasty indeed.
So speaking there, Miss Phillips has said the people have spoken. If the exit poll this evening is again a guide to results across our country, as far so often is, the after 14 years, the British people have chosen change.
What was I saying then? Yes. It would appear that the current cabinet ministers are beginning to panic. One of them describing this as not a Labour landslide, but a tsunami.
Wow. Big, 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 big. Sorry, just gone quiet.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were live. Sorry, I'll do some fill.
Here we are. Tick, 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 ticker. Has been updated for me.
Oh, nice. Well done. That's good. That's really good. Where are we expecting to go next? I believe either Blythe or Newcastle.
Andrea Leadsom admits that the Tories could have gone after reform much more in their campaign attacks.
It's also worth noting. Sorry, go on.
I think that's probably where the Conservatives have gone wrong. They attacked Labour, and I think they should have gone after reform.
Yeah, I agree. But when you're fighting on two fronts, it becomes incredibly difficult to keep up. But it's worth noting, sorry, I was just going to say that the obviously we analysed the MRP polling and suggested picture. The MRP polling average for Sunderland South was absolutely bang on to what the actual result was. So that shows you how accurate the polling can be and how accurate the exit poll is probably going to be.
Absolutely. Well, while we are waiting for more votes to come in, so again, first past the post is how it happens in here. They need an outright majority of 326 seats. That is the number that Labour are aiming for today, or overnight, should I say. As I say, 650 seats in the House of Commons, 326 is that magic number. We will get confirmation of that next government at 4:30 in the morning. So we should have concrete confirmation of the colour of the next government, with one party expected to have crossed the magic number of 326 seats to win a Commons majority. And we'll also learn if Rishi Sunak has kept his seat of Richmond and North Allerton. No incumbent PM has ever lost their seat before. And then from 7 o'clock, you can join Sky News, because we won't be here. They will be taking over with Sophie Ridge and Sam Coates, two amazing presenters there.
Why are we plugging Sky News?
They'll be looking over because.
Why are we plugging Sky News?
Right, what the hell are you watching right now?
BBC election.
I can't work out if you're telling the truth or not.
If I could turn the camera around, you'd see Jacob Rees-Mogg currently talking to Laura Kuenssberg.
Fair enough.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Stop plugging other people's shit.
I'm
This is
trying
our
to get
show.
a discount on my Sky. I'm trying to get a discount on Sky. God, hell.
Good luck with that, mate. Just ring up and tell them that you're going somewhere else.
Where?
Virgin Media.
Don't run in my area, mate.
It's not Sky's problem, is it?
Exactly.
Now TV. What was I going to say then? Jacob Rees-Mogg has come out and said that it has clearly been a terrible night for the Conservatives. We are one count into the night. Yeah, really casual there. Really casual.
Doorbell this time.
Don't.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Some people are in bed with their headphones on and they've just absolutely shit themselves. Have I fallen? Is this some sort of like fever dream that I'm currently having?
Sounds like an alarm, doesn't it? Wake up. Wake up. I'm not going to lie. I'm really warm right now.
Yeah, same. It is really warm.
I'm absolutely roasting.
Got that election night fever.
Do you remember an hour and 38 minutes ago?
Yeah, I do actually. That moment seared into my brain forever.
Was that the like the scariest moment of your life? Like you were moments before going live saying, "You can't leave me. I need you. You're the best person in my life ever." And all of a sudden, I click go live, and you were all alone.
I don't remember saying that. I remember saying the first bit, maybe not the second bit.
Do you remember? Do you know that
You
when
might have
we were sat
fabricated.
in the studio?
I think you might have fabricated
where we
that.
sat
The second bit, I think you might have fabricated. I think that
when we
might
were
be...
sat in the studio.
Stop the count.
You know
Stop the
that's not
count.
recorded?
Stop the
How
count.
recorded is that? Oh,
It's not though, is it?
We do need to take that off the screen, though, don't we?
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
Right. I think the people that are still watching this should send a message in.
Get
Just
a life.
saying
Sorry.
hi. Just say hi. Just say hi to us. Let us know you're watching.
Honestly, you're still there.
Are you still watching?
I wonder who is still watching, because this is like, I'd have gone to bed by now.
Colin, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's watching? That's why I want them to say hi. Or if you are camera shy, you don't have to put it in the group chat, in the chat. You can just message one of us. So if you are one of our friends, just send us a cheeky little message on Facebook Messenger.
What if we don't know them? I don't want to random in my DMs. Just punch your camera out, so.
I did, mate. I totally did. It's just that. Ooh, I've received a badge from Leeds Knights. Accept.
Oh my god, it's them. It's them. The entirety of the Leeds Knights ice hockey team are currently watching us analyse the opening stages of the election.
Can you see the...
So, Rishi Sunak right now, the haters said I couldn't do it, and they were correct. Honestly, great call from the haters.
Did you see the F1 news earlier on?
No, I've been pretty busy today with the election.
That Oliver Behrman is going to be on the grid next year for Haas.
Wow. I'm impressed that Haas are going to be on the grid next year at all.
Oh, look, it's Anthony Evans. He looks so old. Oh, there he is, Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. He's on our screen. Someone just posted on Facebook saying the UK ends tomorrow.
I don't think it does. I think it'll be all right. Reform exit poll suggests Reform is set to win Hartlepool and 2 seats from Labour in Barnsley.
Jesus,
so now you've got Reform. We've got Reform taking seats off the Labour Party.
I mean, that's a shock, though. To be fair, because didn't the people of Barnsley start throwing stuff at him in Barnsley?
They did indeed. One particular person being arrested for that.
So it's shocking that they're going to gain in Barnsley.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
Why am I getting an advert for Foster's?
What's it, post share of the vote?
That's two very different ads there from Facebook. Foster's sponsoring Proper Shandy, and then we've got a post from Bedlam with Tom and Cal saying that we are ready and waiting in the studio, and then 2 down from that, it's a Guinness advert.
Fab.
There's something trying to tell me to get absolutely wasted.
It's quite possible, isn't it? Your phone's doing the thing again. Your phone's doing the thing again.
Have you seen that Leeds United are going to have red on the front of the shirt?
Where is this live stream going?
I'm just filling, mate. I'm just waiting for Blythe.
Just waiting for Blythe. We're all just waiting for Blythe. To be fair, that Blythe looks like it's about to announce.
Election pollster Sir John Curtis has highlighted how Reform have advanced most in seats that voted Leave in the Brexit referendum. Election pollster Sir John Curtis has highlighted how Labour have done well in areas where people are in bad health.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. People look for an alternative when they feel like they don't have one.
And he's also highlighted how the Tories have particularly suffered in places where more than a third of families have a mortgage. He speculates that this is due to the turmoil after Liz Truss's mini budget.
Again, possibly and probably correct.
As you said, Jacob Rees-Mogg is basically confiding now in BBC News, saying it's clearly a terrible night for the Conservatives and he wishes Starmer well.
That's interesting, I think. That's an interesting comment to make, considering.
So just on that, so Labour have likely secured their anticipated landslide victory through the though the party may have fallen just short of the majority. Tony Blair won in 1997's general election. They may have achieved this on a similar share of votes than former leader Jeremy Corbyn secured in 2017. Both the Conservatives' share of the vote and their seat tally could be the lowest in the party's history. The seat tally might be affected by their vote falling more heavily in seats where they were previously strongest, a pattern that is largely because of the reform has risen most there.
We are announcing in Blyth.
Oh, we're going.
Also, just before we hear from Blyth, Labour have apparently won the Swindon South seat as expected, which would make that their first official gain of the evening.
Is that announced? Or...
No, not yet, but it's on the way.
Ooh. She looks very fancy, doesn't she?
Cumberland and candidates onto the stage for the declaration.
Oh, I don't need to listen to that bit.
I'm not going to lie, mate, but I'm probably going to announce it before it says it on the TV. So
I'm not doing it for the live stream. I'm doing it because I want to write down the numbers.
I'll tell you the numbers.
I'm not doing it with.
So Blyth and Ashington, Ian Lavery of Labour has 20,030. The next one up, Conservatives, Maureen Levy, 6,121. Steve Leyland of the Green Party, 1,960. Mark Pert of Reform UK, a massive share there, 10,857. And Stephen Fustilis, need to rewind, 1,433. So that is a.
And who is that for?
Hold.
Lib Dems.
What?
The last one. Who is he for?
Oh, his name's not on screen no more, so I can't say it. But that is a 9,173 majority with a turnout of 53.5. So that is a big swing there. No. Yes. So Conservatives down, is that 18.3% down on the last vote. Labour up 1.9%. Reform UK up 17.8%. So that's a massive swing there.
Worth noting, however, when we are
the
talking
swing
about
between Conservative and Reform.
Worth noting when we're talking about these massive swings to Reform, that Reform weren't a party at the last election. So they're building on a base of 0. So everything is a gain for them.
I'm going to compare the 17.8% swing up to the 17 point or 18.3 down for Conservatives, because more or less
that's pretty much a like for like. Ex-Conservative voters have voted for Reform.
Yeah. So basically, Labour still would have held that seat. So, looking at this, so Labour still would have held that seat, because if it was Conservative voters that have voted for Reform, then they would just have over 17,000 votes, which it obviously is less than the 20,000.
Yeah.
But you can see that Green Party there have 1.9% up on last time out. Again, turnout down 3.4% on last time out. So they've got a 53.5% there. So as we say, we are going to see lower turnout to last time because those Conservative voters are not going to want to go out and vote for them.
But I also don't think they'll want to vote for reform. Quite a lot of traditional Conservative voters won't want to vote for reform, and that's probably why we're seeing a low turnout. They'd have rather stayed at home and not used their vote rather than vote for somebody else.
So it's currently showing 19% down for Conservatives across the two seats. We've got a turnout of 52.3%, which is down 4.7% from last time out. So that's just two seats.
Yeah, it's very similar in obviously in area, but also in economic situation as well, in terms of unemployment and things. Very, very similar. So worth trying to pick out any patterns between both of those. In terms of swing, again, massive swing. Very, very, very similar to that of Sunderland. To reform, 7.9%. So that is it's not a worry for Labour. They've gained the seat, but it's interesting to watch and see where the vote share has gone. Certainly.
Oh, is your mate back? Did they finish watching Love Island?
Don't know. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, come on. Right. So, you guys that are watching this on YouTube, come on, just drop us a message. Say hello. We want to say hello back. Or if you've got a question, you want to ask us a question, want us to recap something, let us know. We'll recap it. Just pop your thing in.
I don't really want to say hello back. I'll recap anything, but I don't really want to say hello back.
I'm nice. I'm kind. I'm not like Callum. I'll say hello to anyone.
Whatever.
So the biggest thing there. So the first two seats that have been declared there, Reform have come second in both of those votes.
Yes, indeed. Which, to be fair, in those seats, is not unexpected, considering they did vote quite heavily for UKIP when that was back in its day. And I believe one of the MEPs for UKIP that was once elected was from there. So that in itself is a little bit tasty.
One thing that I did forget about was the markets. So when something big gets announced, such as exit polls and stuff like that, markets do shift. Have you seen anything on this?
I don't expect to get anything properly on this until I'd say probably tomorrow lunchtime.
So markets at the moment have maintained stable after the exit poll, but a few people in the comments on that post are saying, well, they're not going to change, are they? Because Labour have been leading for years.
No.
No.
But
no.
GB News, they got their poll completely wrong. On their ticker on GB News, they said that the Conservatives had won 410 seats in the exit poll and that Labour had won just 131.
GB News, do you remember them?
Well, that's exactly the caption on this post. What an utter mess GB News is tonight. Their published exit poll was completely wrong. Audio out of sync. Output was all pixelated. Not long now, guys.
Hey, do you know what? It could be worse. You could be the Bedlam podcast and attempt to be able to get into your own fucking live
We pulled
stream.
it round. We pulled it round.
Let's not talk too soon.
Oh, I don't know what could go wrong now.
Don't
know.
This is a massacre. That reminds me, I do have to watch House of Dragon.
Gay House of Dragon.
Now I was going to say Game of Thrones, but
House of the
it's not even.
Dragons.
House of Dragon. Winter.
Who's here?
Winter has come. We shall not be bitten by the cold.
Let's have
Winter is coming.
Andrea Leadsom has said that as Reform nudged the Tories into third for the second time tonight, perhaps we have not been conservative enough.
Lol. So the guy that's just won the second seat of the night, Ian Lavery, he was the chair of the Labour Party from 2017 to 2020 when Jeremy Corbyn led the party. Oh, I remember him well. Oh, it was such a young whippersnapper.
Note that apparently in Jacob Rees-Mogg TV's interview, the loudest sound was the ticking clock behind him. The irony of that is not lost on anyone, I assume.
Labour's Steve Reid. So following on from everyone and ourselves saying that my phone and they went flying. Saying that Reform have come second. Steve Reid says that the results are about who is winning these parliamentary seats, not who is coming second.
So we have had a little bit of a Twitter bant between Rishi Sunak and Steve Rotherham, the Metro Mayor of Liverpool. As Rishi Sunak tweeted out on the 30th of June, it's not over till it's over. Steve Rotherham, 53 minutes ago, has retweeted it and just put, it is now. Labour heads slightly worried about the Reform vote shares. Confident that they'll still get the result, but worried about the vote share.
A comment coming from a member of the general public on Twitter. We will all be sat here in 4 years' time and the country will still be fucked and not changed a bit. Fuck the Tories, fuck Labour, fuck the lot of them, all the best.
What an awful way of thinking. Well, we might as well all just go and jump into the sea then, haven't we?
Another member of the public, 13 Reform seats. We need to talk about the UK's racism problem.
That's interesting. Suggestions that Reform numbers so far have not matched the exit poll expectations, and 13 could be an underestimation, a large underestimation.
Oh, right. Nadine Dorries is on Channel 4, mate. Did you say that earlier?
Yeah, I did, yeah. She's on with Alistair Campbell, isn't she? And Rory Stewart, eventually.
And Kwasi Kwarteng.
Oh, the former Chancellor. Do you remember him? Do you remember when Liz Truss flew him back from New York to sack him?
Nadine Dorries.
The emergency podcast.
Nadine Dorries has said, Keir Starmer is no Tony Blair. It's a disaster for us. Christian Guru Murty said, the rot started with Boris Johnson. Nadine Dorries replied, no one voter group blames Boris Johnson for what happened to the Conservative Party. Alistair Campbell replied, honestly, Nadine, you've got to get over Boris Johnson. Nadine Dorries replied, I find that a sexist comment. Alistair Campbell replied back with, it's not. Nadine replied back with, it is. Alistair Campbell replied back with Sunak rolling out Johnson. Kwasi Kwarteng saying, can we move on from Boris? And then Guru Muti said, do you really want to talk about Liz Truss? And Kwasi Kwarteng replied back with, no.
Excellent. Said it before, and we'll say it again. The supermajority strategy from the Conservatives was insanity. It actively gave Tory voters license to vote reform, and this is exactly what's happening. Madness. True.
Just there's a video of Aaron Moy's goal against Leeds United has just popped up on my timeline. Oh, election maps UK. Election maps UK an hour ago. Shit. This is so tense. I'm going to share you that. So that is a Google document for the results spread.
Oh, fab. No, I don't want to pay for Twitter Premium.
That will be nice for you, my friend.
Fabulous. That's very handy, actually.
You're so welcome, my friend. You're so welcome.
Oh,
right. Have we got any comments?
Oh,
no. So we've got a little bit of analysts coming in. So only yesterday, that Matthew Thompson, the news correspondent for Sky News, wrote that he felt that Lib Dems would be happy with any result over 40 seats, and if they topped 70, as some polls were suggesting, they'd be in dreamland. Well, with the exit polls suggesting they'll get 61 seats, they might not quite have reached dreamland, but they're certainly on the outskirts. Sir Ed Davis said he was humbled by the millions of people who backed the Liberal Democrats, as the party said it thought it was on course for the best results in century. If they do reach 61 seats, they will fall slightly short of the record total, which was 62 back in 2005, but the number of gains at 53 would smash their previous record of 28 achieved in 1997. It would appear that the Liberal Democrats are back, restored to their cherished status as Westminster's third largest party. It will. I wonder what the odds are of Sir Ed Davey turning up to his count in a wetsuit. So just to go over, so we've had
now entirely lost in this spreadsheet.
So we've had two seats announced at the moment. So both won by Labour. So the first one was Bridget Phillipson. She won 18,837 of the vote. She was said that people have spoken in the exit poll this evening is again a guide of the results across our country, as it so often is. 14 years the British people have chosen change. They've chosen Labour. They've chosen the leadership of Keir Starmer. Today, our country is with its proudest history that has chosen a bright future. And then the second seat, no comments as yet from Ian Lavery, but he won the seat there in Blyth and Ashlington with 20,030 of the people's vote there. Reform UK coming second in both votes. So in Sunderland South, they had 11,668. In Blyth and Aslington, they had 10,857 of those seats. I think Ian Lavery has just spoken to Sky News, so we'll probably be getting some of his comments shortly. Callum, anything?
Currently, we are waiting on a number of seats that look close to being announced. Barnsley has gone to a recount already, so that's fun.
Wow.
I suspect that
Very
has
good.
something to do with the suspected wards that Reform were supposed to be winning that they weren't meant to win, and something to do with those either being closer or further than the others would have suspected.
Mm.
Now, I believe we're also getting something through for... no, that's... Sorry, I've been an idiot. All right, okay.
Well, while we've got nothing to talk about, I think we'll quickly go over how much of a good campaign this has been so far, with all the laughs and jokes that we've had. Ed Davey being one of those. Run this short clip now.
This is proof that the plan and priorities I set out are working. I recognise that it has not always been easy.
Finally. Are you looking forward to the election? Can you win it? Can you win it?
You're going to love it. I'm coming on it. It's got a fridge.
The party don't want the bus broadcast before Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer get here.
No one expects Labour has been in the polls, and we basically defy the odds. And
They know that they've got a job to get themselves up the news agenda ahead.
It's going to be blue, and it's going to come down.
Extra weight makes it really... See, it was lacklustre last. That looks fun.
There we go. I think you need 3 on there, and then you've really got some speed. I feel like applauding.
I'd say those turrets aren't that pronounced.
Including the cost of living!
And what about rejoining the single market?
Skydiving, motorcycling, fast catamaran sailing.
Higher taxes, higher taxes, higher taxes.
Mum was a nurse, my sister was a nurse, so the DNA, it runs through my DNA.
My mother had wheels, should be a bicycle. I don't answer questions beginning with the word if.
Let's do it. Clench your buttocks. Turn around.
It is certainly the case that I've got used to slicing and dicing.
Are you saying that to save the climate, we've got to ban the burger?
So my favourite meal generally is sandwiches.
And there was a packet of Haribos. So
He just put the phone down on me.
So
There was a
coming
packet of Haribos.
out of Blythe and I'm going to say this wrong one time.
I think it's Ashington, is it?
Ashington. I keep saying Aslington. The winner there, Labour second seat win there, Ian Lavery with 20,030 votes. He's been speaking with Sky News following declaration, and he said that so many people are desperate for change, and that's why hopefully we'll see a handsome majority for the Labour Party. The Labour Party will deliver, particularly for working people. He pledged the key will be to, can you just check what that's just gone in? The key will be to invest in creating well-paid
I'm not going to play that out. Well done.
In the constituency and riding the country of child poverty with which the country is ridden. He's also said that Reform UK doesn't concern Labour. Some more information coming out. So it's coming out from the SNPs. The independence plan has been scuppered, says a Scottish Tory. So Scottish Tory MSP Murdo Fraser has said that the exit poll is disappointing for the Conservatives, but it also scuppers SNP's independence plan. The MSP for Mid Scotland and Fife spoke to Sky News at the Perth and Kinross constituency count, where the Scottish Tories Luke Graham is up against the SNP's Pete Wishart. If the exit poll is correct, the SNP are on course to lose 38 seats and drop to 10. Mr. Fraser, who was out on the campaign trail ahead of the election, said, "I think it's absolutely clear that people were disappointed with the performance of the Conservative government, but the situation in Scotland perhaps had a different focus for people, and that was much of the ire people had was directed towards the SNP and the government." Mr. Fraser and the predictions showed that Scotland is turning a corner now, and he added that we nearly 2 decades of the SNP domination, and it looks like that is now crumbling away, and the SNP are looking at their worst election result for maybe 15 years or more. And I think that this suggests that people in Scotland are thinking again about their future. Let's remember, of course, John Swinney and the SNP were saying this election would be a de facto referendum and on whether Scotland remained part of the United Kingdom. Well, it looks like Scotland have made up their minds on that question.
Indeed. And it is looking like there is a correlation, a big, strong correlation, as we mentioned earlier, between the seats that are swinging towards Remain in big numbers, even if they are still Labour holds and Labour gains, the seats that are swinging towards Remain and Leave voting seats at the Brexit referendum. So this is not entirely surprising, considering the historical mood, shall we say, of the electorate in these areas specifically. But it will be interesting to see how that correlates throughout the night should Reform continue to get the results that we think they will, and whether they can keep defying the exit poll and get more seats or even more swing votes that would influence the outcomes of seats.
So this campaign from Labour, so it's coming up saying that the majority will be the second largest since World War II. The 2024 exit poll prediction compared with majorities for Labour and Conservatives and the coalition governments after general elections. So it's from 1945 to 2019. So the biggest current majority at the moment is Tony Blair's government in 1997, with 178 of the majority. At the moment, it's predicted to be 170. Numbers where Conservatives have not really been near with their majority. The biggest of those being back in 1983 when they had a 144 majority on that one.
Absolutely. So, earlier we mentioned Rishi Sunak's dissolution honours list.
Yes.
So there is lots of division about those coming from Tory MPs at the moment. One of them saying, so Oliver Dowden.
Unlock the doors.
I haven't had to hear those words for at least 8 weeks. That has released in me some inner PTSD about the Rwanda bill, which I had to stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning to get the actual final division result from. Anyway, as I was saying, so Oliver Dowden pushed for an early election and has been the worst deputy prime minister in living memory. Worth remembering that these are coming from his own side. I'll continue. Demonstrating terrible political judgment. Lord Boothsmith is the architect of the Sunak project. This is an utter disgrace. Oh dear. They don't like it.
Oh dear. You don't like it. Don't put your lighty on.
You don't like it.
No like it. No lighty. Oh. We're just waiting now, aren't we, mate?
Always. It's a waiting game. It's a waiting game. Because then you'll do this and then 5 will come all at once and you're like, what the am I meant to do with that? Okay. Also worth going back on what we said earlier, that when John Curtis suggested that the Reform numbers so far had not matched the exit poll expectations, the exit poll has only, on further analysis, the exit poll has been out by 0.1% on those numbers. So maybe actually not as wrong as we thought. Potentially. I don't like that face, it worries me.
It's just, when you're just like, so I've not been scrolling through Twitter. I've just been scrolling through one specific Twitter page. And I just think it's funny that, like, now I've just opened up Twitter and just started scrolling properly. It just, people. It's just funny.
I've enjoyed some of the clips of what's been on the news today because obviously everyone wants to talk about nothing but the election, but you couldn't until 10 p.m. So on BBC News at 7:45 today, they ran with a news story that research finds hippos can fly for short periods.
They're stealing our content.
Tell me
Right.
it's polling day without telling me that it's polling day.
So it is midnight. We are now on the 5th of July. It's Friday. So with that, it is the 12 a.m. snapshot. So Horton and Sunderland South became the first party to announce its results.
In fact, hang on, I'm going to let you do the snapshot just on your own. Go on, do it.
Hi guys.
Do the snapshot.
Horton and Sunderland South became the first party to announce its results, with Labour holding the seats, with its candidate Shadow Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. The second result saw Labour hold Blyth and Ashington. Reform UK finished second in both, taking a lot of Conservative votes. Ed Conway has said that these results have been pretty much bang on with what the exit poll has projected, and that same exit poll predicts that Nigel Farage will win his seat in Clacton for Reform UK.
You done?
Where the hell did you go?
I thought I'd have enough time to go and get some of my election night sweeties, but I didn't.
I mean, if you wanted to go do that, you're more than welcome to do that.
Feeling like it might be time to break out. Now it's midnight. It might be time to break out the first bits of my election night sweeties.
Right, you go do that. Yeah.
Should we maybe throw over to Jonathan Pye one more time?
Nah, I've had enough of him.
Ah, fair enough then. All right, you do it yourself then. Phil.
What I'm going to do, right? So I don't have a thing, but I'm just going to play something. It is 10 seconds. I will fill. But if you are here joining us for the first time, I'm just going to play a short clip. It's going to have all our socials on it: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everything like that. So just go give us a follow. Go sneaky little thing.
Some love.
I kicked him out before he said it. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to have all our sort of Instagram and socials on there. So just give us a follow. I'm just going to play it. It will say thanks for watching. We're not going anywhere. We will be back. So, as it said on there, Spotify. We are on Spotify as well. So if you want to listen to us, you can do. It's just right on there. We do try and release sort of podcasts like every once a fortnight, once a month. We are trying to be back on top of it now that mine and Callum's personal lives have got a little bit better. But yeah, more information coming in from S&P's is Mr. Flynn's seat in trouble. So the big caveats around the exit poll, particularly when it comes to Scottish seats, and it's a big talking point. It's always been like an S&P stronghold up there. Callum can add himself in when he wants to come in. He's more than welcome to do so.
Sunderland are about to announce. Sorry.
It has the big picture, broadly right, but things get shaky when you drill down the seats by seat predictions. There's a few hours yet until we get the real results. So here's just a little bit of a snippet. The exit poll predicts that the big S&P figure like Stephen Flynn, the party's Westminster leader, and Joanna Cherry could be on their way out. Flynn is actually predicted to fall to the Tories. The exit poll thinks that they could come through in a three-way marginal. That's been announced, hasn't it? Yep. So Flynn is actually predicted, but I've done that. As well as the widespread Labour gains, the exit poll actually predicts the Tories picking up 5 seats from the SNPs, which feels somewhat out of whack with the narrative up until now. We have a third seat given. There we go. So no big changes here. Labour do hold and Reform are second. So we have Lewis Atkinson with 16,852. Chris Eon of Reform with 10,779. Greg Peacock for Conservatives with 5,731. We've got Niall Hodgson. I can't see that right. Hodgson. Niall Hodgson with 3,602. And we got the Independents other 2,900. Why does it say other? It's Greens. It says on here Greens. Rachel Featherstone 2,993. So Labour hold. There's no gains, no swings, no nothing on that one. But the biggest talking point there, the swing. Conservatives down 21%. Reform taking 15.4% of that, and the rest going with a split between Lib Dems and the Greens / other. So Lib Dems have gained 2.1% of the vote, and the Greens / other have gained 4.7%. The turnout there in Sunderland Central is 55%, which again is down 4.8%, and the majority there is 6,073.
The swing there to Reform being 7.3. Did you say that? You might have just said that. Sorry.
Possibly so.
Windings were a good call.
Well then. So no change there. 3 of the seats have been held by Labour, so no change, obviously. Big talking about up there in the northeast, but no change.
No change, and that wasn't expected either. Sorry, that was expected that they wouldn't change. What is unexpected is the amount of votes that Reform have got.
The exit poll predicts 0 seats for George Galloway's Workers' Party. Never.
They only have one candidate. Well, they only have one front leader, really. But
ding, ding dong.
That man looks surprised at every given opportunity.
I think it is really bizarre, right, that SNP are slowly falling out of Scotland.
So what I think is happening there is that because of everything that's happened with them in terms of their change of leadership and the less than dignified way that Nicola Sturgeon left the SNP leadership and the less than dignified way that Hamza Yousaf left the SNP leadership, they're in a little bit of a tailspin at the minute. And this is reflective of that because I don't think there's as much of an appetite for a second Scottish independence referendum as what they think there was. And potentially that has led to more people voting Reform, more people voting for Labour. And as much as I think that more people will vote for Labour in Scotland, I also don't think that Anas Sarwar and Scottish Labour have run an excellent campaign. I think they could have capitalised maybe a little bit more on the SNP's issues. But time will tell, and we'll see how that plays out.
So we are getting a little bit of a deep dive into Sunderland Central. So with the exit poll, Labour, it came through saying that Labour were going to hold Sunderland Central, but with 50% of the vote, but they actually got 42.2% of the vote. So where did the rest of the vote go in Sunderland Central? So they were out by 1% with Reform. So they predicted Reform to get 28% of the vote. They got 27%. But the big talking point that they predicted the Conservatives to get 8% of the vote when actually they got 14.3% of the vote. Lib Dems, they predicted 7%. They got 9%. And with the others, so Greens, Independents, and so on, they predicted 7%, but it was 7.5%. So the majority of the prediction for Sunderland Central there with 50% was going to the Conservatives in that one. So not as spot on as they predicted, but still predicted the majority would go to Labour.
Labour.
Yeah. So any indication on who the next seat's going to be?
At the minute, no. They're all being counted. I suspect Barnsley won't be far away because technically they'd already finished voting once. Finished counting once, but then had to start again.
Could you imagine, right, if you'd like accidentally dropped one under your seat and you were like, oh, I'll get that later. And then like you had to sort of like then recount everything. You were there going, oh, where's that one? I had 43 earlier, but I've only got 42. And you're sort of stumbling over everything.
What was I going to say? Oh, if we're a little bit of maths for you, if we extrapolate the results so far, it's going to be a 650-0 win for Labour. Obviously, that isn't going to happen. That would be insane. They would be essentially just shouting at themselves.
So we've got some comments coming out from former Tory leader Ruth Davison. She said that Reform UK coming second for a third time makes a trend. This is an election for a government that's been in power for a long time where they are being punished. The Tories are being punished across the country with votes going everywhere.
Also have some comments from the current MP for High Wycombe, which we saw in that clip of the hilarious moments where he talks about all the things that he's going to do after the election. Bungee jumping, rock climbing, fast catamaran riding. He has called the exit poll result devastating.
I mean, I think it's going to look that way now, isn't it? It's just it's going to be downhill from here.
Depends which side you're on, I suppose.
I predict. Do be do be do be do be do be do. There we are, updated. Boom. Oh, right.
At what point do you want to call this, by the way?
I don't know. I'm thinking past.
Time is up. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to try and get to past and see how I felt and see if it could go to 1 o'clock.
I think we'd go at past, mainly because we've been doing this for 2.5 hours already. And also, I need to start thinking about the other things that I need to do tonight.
What do you mean? This has not been good enough for you, Callum?
Obviously, Bedlam always comes first because it's my baby. Well, our baby, should I say.
I think the biggest talking point is that the Tories are third in the third seat.
Yeah, if this trend continues, it's going to be even worse than what they thought.
We've got Swindon South. So Heidi Alexander, Labour, 21,676.
Remember that this
Robert
will be
Buckland from Conservatives, 12,070. Martin Costello for the Independents, 472. Rod Hebden for Green Party, 2,539. And Catherine Kosidowski for Reform UK. Are they going to come second for a third time?
We have our first Labour gain in that case, as Robert Buckland, the incumbent Conservative MP, has lost his seat.
Not a massive swing though in that case. It's only 3.2.
Sorry, there's just some analysis on the Channel 4 coverage this evening. Having Quarting and Dorries on the Channel 4 panel is like having a true crime podcast presented by the actual fucking murderers.
So a little bit of a deep dive into that seat in Swindon South that Labour have just gained from the former Justice Secretary, as he's lost his seat there. Heidi Alexandra has taken 48%. 48.4% of the vote with 21,676. That is 8.2% more than last time out. Robert Buckland, he has 26.9% of the vote with 12,070. That is a loss of 24.7%. Third, so Reform coming third for the first time this evening. Catherine Kosidowski, 6,194. That's 13.8% of the vote. Obviously, up on that, so plus 13.8. You've got Rob Hebden with the Green Party, 5.7% of the vote, 2,539. That is up a gain of 5.1%. And the others, independent there, it's under Martin Costello. No, it's not. They've got others. So they've got Liberal Democrats there, 1,843, and then Independent Martin Costello, 472. So put those all in one bracket. That's 2,315, which is 5.2% of the vote, and down 2.5. So that's a turnout there, much bigger than what we've seen before. 61.8% of the vote there, with 6.5% down, and that is a majority win for Labour with 9,606. The big breaking news there, that former Justice Secretary has lost his seat in Swindon South.
Big news. Big news.
Well, it's the biggest one so far. Big again there. Big gain.
A Labour source has claimed that Jeremy Corbyn is set to win Islington North by as few as 1,500 votes.
Wow.
That would be pretty big.
When would that come in?
I don't know. It depends. But if they're already speaking like that, then it suggests that it's not that far away.
Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, I don't know. Can't help you there, boys. Can't help you. But yeah, it's a big. So we've had 4 seats so far.
So now Steve Baker. People have been questioning Steve Baker because he is actually standing to be elected this evening, but he's currently on Sky News in the studio. And he's just confirmed that he expects to lose his seat overnight and he will be swept away in the Labour tsunami. So that, I fear, is going to be the line that they're going to go with, the Labour tsunami.
I've just punched the microphone there. Cheers, boys.
Just no need for that.
You're welcome. It would help if I could spell south, wouldn't it?
It would.
Ooh. Both. There we are. This first gain of the evening. Labour getting the first seat of the night from the former Justice Secretary in the Swindon South.
Just looking again at the Swindon South results on this fabulous spreadsheet. As it is updated live. The Reform swing there is actually not as bad. No, actually, it's still pretty bad. 13.8% they're up. Conservatives are down 24.7%, and the Labour are only up 8.2%. So again, Reform, in terms of vote share change, Reform beating Labour. So that is tasty. But also worth pointing out that the turnout there was 62%, so higher by almost 10% than what we've seen up in the northeast.
Still a loss.
Indeed. But the Conservatives have come second. So they'll be taking that as a victory. Interesting there, I think, that the Lib Dems have lost out to the Greens. I suspect that might be a local issue.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly so. But we do have our first points on the board now. So seats, Labour 1 +1, Conservatives -1. So the new Labour MP for Swindon South constituency, Heidi Alexander, previously represented the seat for Lewisham East, which she resigned in 2018 to become Deputy Mayor of London for Transport under Sadiq Khan. Oof. Tasty is this, isn't it, mate? Tasty.
Proper.
Andrea Leadsom has claimed that the Tories have lost the election because they were too woke. As Callum said earlier on, Steve Baker says he will be swept away in the tsunami and accepts he will lose his seat in Wickham.
Be interesting whenever we do get these Richmond and Northallerton vote to see how Nico Omilana's done.
Yeah. Is that the same one where Camp Binface is going?
It is indeed, because it's the Prime Minister's.
Oh, yeah.
Although it's worth saying he is expected to hold it.
Rishi?
Yeah.
I'll be stepping down, though. So what do you reckon he's going to do? So do you reckon he'll stay as an MP? Or do you reckon he'll just leave?
I'm not sure, to be honest. He has said that he will stay as an MP, but that might be harder to do in practice than it is Just saying it on the campaign trail to make yourself look good.
Well, yeah. Right then. Well, I think while we are, hang on. Kyle says he's back for a long night. But just as he says that he's here for a long night, we are going to call it a night. So we're going to go and get into his gym jams.
Well,
we're
you
going to
are.
go watch it for ourselves and chill out. Well, I'm going to go and
I'm staying
get into
right
bed.
here with my massive spreadsheet. Thank you again for sending me that. That's like a good Christmas present.
I'm going to go take a look at it and see what it's all about. But
Have a look,
as always,
because
thank you.
it's fabulous.
As always,
Yeah.
thank you for everyone being here this evening. You've been more welcome and pleasant sat here to sit with us and just chill. As I said earlier on, we do podcasts. So if you are watching or you're watching the live stream back, I don't know if you're going to be able to, if we're going to be able to do that. We'll have to have a look.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll be able to watch it back and see how.
I'm not
horrendous-
watching 2 hours 40 of myself back.
No, I'm not going to watch the whole thing back. I'm just going to watch like the first minute to see how horrendous it was.
Yeah, that will be funny.
Yeah, I might have to stick it in the reels.
Yeah.
But yeah, as always, thank you very much. As we say, we'll have a quick roundup. So 4 seats gone so far, and Labour have won every single one of them. So we've got Halton and Sunderland South, Blythe and Ashington, Sunderland Central and Labour have gained. The first gain of the night, Swindon South. Very much. Thank you very much for being here. Stick to our socials. They'll be in the end of this little section. And go hit us up. Go follow us. It's been a pleasure having you here. We're live from 10 Downing Street. As always. Not as always, but yeah.
We're always live from wherever you want us to be live from.
I love how that's been hiding under the ticker all day.
Yeah. Well, it's really professional when that ticker's on.
Oh, by the way, right, so you know that we've had that one throughout during the general election. Here's a little bit of a teaser of how it's going to look for the foreseeable, because we're not going to be talking about the general election no more.
Can only get better.
Can only get better. But yeah, as I said, thank you very much for being here. For the people that have been here all throughout the last 2 hours and 42 minutes, thanks so much. Cheers. Most welcome. But yeah, don't forget, give us a little follow. We are aiming for 1,000 followers on Facebook. So yeah, we're going to be a lot more. We're going to be a lot more active on Facebook. And if you want, go give us a little cheeky follow on Instagram as well. There, that's going to be the next thing.
Get on FaceTube. Get on that there FaceTube, Peter.
Go FaceTube. Go give Callum a follow. See Scott Journo. He's going to be live all night. If you want a little shing-ding and a little bit of a chat to him, you're so welcome. I'm off to bed. I got work in the morning. Give me a follow. I'll put some jerky sort of shit things up, but whatever. And as I said, thanks to you so much. And we're out of here. Adios.
Adios.
We don't normally do this, but see you later. Bye. Have fun.
Bye. Have fun. Enjoy.